Tonight, Blaze Bernstein, the name in the headlines so many of you will recognize. The massive search triggered by celebrities and social media.
But now the chilling new details. You may not have heard about this missing college student. The all-new 2020 starts right now.
Who leaves their house without any of their items at night and doesn't show back up again?
This isn't just anybody. This is an Ivy League college student with his whole life in front of him.
Did he run away? Was he injured? Had he been abducted?
Blaze Bernstein disappeared 1 week ago.
Missing while home for winter break.
My dad was just like, we have each other, it's gonna be okay.
And there was an immediate firestorm of attention to this case.
Charlie Puth, who put it out there, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
This is the period in which begins your amateur investigation. You become a sleuth.
We would not have been able to figure it out without the help of kids his age.
I remember showing the police, like, look what I have.
And that's when the whole evening changed.
Blaze Bernstein's phone at that point in time turned off, and I had no more records.
So they've been together, and suddenly Blaze goes dark.
I heard voices raised in the distance somewhere, screaming like...
Blaze's best friend received a text message. I did something really horrible for the story. No one can ever know.
So if you're dealing with a situation like this, you don't want the person who you're hunting to know that you're onto them.
Just help us find my brother.
Well, the search ramping up today for a Lake Forest teen who disappeared while visiting his family over the holidays.
Blaze Bernstein has been missing since Tuesday night.
Police searching by ground with canines and by air with helicopters.
We're hoping that he's just incapacitated in need of some medical assistance.
Anyone with information should contact the Orange County Sheriff's Department.
Blaze Bernstein.
Blaze Bernstein.
Blaze Bernstein.
What are your favorite pictures here?
The kids like to goof off a lot, and he would dress up. They loved to dress up. They loved to do puppet shows, and this is him in a school play when he was little. And we spent a lot of time at Disneyland, because it's right here in our backyard.
Oh, yeah.
That's us sitting there. It was a great day.
Memories of much happier times for parents. Gideon and Jeannie Bernstein married in 1992. They moved from Los Angeles to Orange County to raise a family. They have 3 kids. The youngest is daughter Bowie, Jay in the middle, and Blaze, the oldest.
We had a lot of fun raising the kids together. It was fun. And no one can take that away from us, so we still own that.
Blaze Bernstein grew up here in the city of Lake Forest. It's an upper middle class bedroom community about an hour south of Los Angeles, home to about 90,000 people.
Growing up in Lake Forest was really nice. It was kind of inland from the coast, like 30-minute drive from the beach.
It was actually a really quiet residential area. Houses were beautiful, a lot of families there.
When we wanted to start a family, we left Los Angeles with the idea that we'd be moving to a safe suburbia, one of the safest places in the country.
And by all accounts, Blaze is this bright, gifted teenager with a sharp wit and a warm heart.
I've known Blaze since we were babies. Blaze as a kid, besides being very high energy, he was really creative, he was very thoughtful.
Blaze was incredibly bright, curious. He was really a Renaissance young man. I mean, he was interested in everything.
Surrounded by family and friends, Blaze was bar mitzvahed in 2011. That's a Jewish celebration of adulthood on a boy's 13th birthday. It was an occasion especially meaningful to his grandmother.
I did know that his grandmother was from Romania and survived the Holocaust.
I really think that Blaze got it. He was proud to be a Jew, humanistic philosophy, caring about the world and understanding the world's only going to change if human beings change it.
But even though Blaze possessed that understanding, it offered no protection from becoming a target of frequent bullying.
Growing up in Lake Forest was not super easy for him. He was bullied every single day on the bus. He just wanted to get out of the public school system.
And it wasn't just the bullying. Even though Blaze is a good student, he longs for something more.
Go, man, go.
Something that challenged him, not just intellectually, but creatively. And he would find it at OSHA.
OSHA is the Orange County School of the Arts. It is a 7th through 12th charter art school.
In order to get into that school, you have to audition, and about 1 in 10 students who audition actually get into this school. So it's very competitive.
Blaze auditioned for OSHA. He was artistic in every single way possible. He was very creative.
His talents going in were performing arts and writing, and he wanted to move into the creative writing department.
We've had students who wound up professional actors, designers, you know, the writers, the whole thing, musicians.
Among the more famous OSHA alumni are actors Pedro Pascal, class of 1993, who starred in the HBO hit The Last of Us, and Matthew Morrison, a 1997 graduate and star in Fox's popular TV series, Glee.
I want you to listen very closely to the lyrics because I really mean what I'm singing.
Once Blaze got to OSHA, he felt like there was a community there for him. He had a lot of friends. He was very social.
I met Blaze when he was a senior in high school. He shared some of his writing with me, and I wrote a letter of advocacy for his application when he applied early decision to Penn because he was a brilliant writer.
Blaze's exceptional talents got him into the University of Pennsylvania, and he moved across the country to Philadelphia as a pre-med freshman in the class of 2020.
Was he homesick at the start?
I think that the first semester at school was difficult for him in terms of his social life there. He was used to being in a small school. You know, now he's a little fish in a big sea, and I think that he had to come to grips with that.
When I found out that he was going to an Ivy League, I was like, oh, you know, that makes sense.
At Penn, Blaze got involved in Pen Appetit.
Pen Appetit is a student-run magazine for people who are interested in writing and also interested in food.
He knew that those would be his people.
Our photographer for Pen Appetit, he held a photo shoot where we dressed up in our chef's whites and aprons. We brought whisks and knives. We have photos of him, you know, holding the whisk, being surprised. I mean, he was so helpful, and we're so fortunate to have these photos of him.
It was a Tuesday in January. A 19-year-old Blaze was home for winter break. He was in a really good place and looking forward to second semester of his sophomore year, but not before he treated his family to a special meal.
He was baking butternut squash with, you know, sprigs of thyme that were inside them.
He made a turkey.
And he made a...
He took over my job, more or less. I was on vacation, and he was here.
So dinner broke up, I guess, absolutely normally.
It was a quiet night. Didn't hear anything unusual. You know, I woke up the next day and it was a normal morning.
A normal day until it wasn't.
I got up and Blaze's door was closed, and the housekeeper said, "Oh, don't wake him, let him sleep in." And I said, okay. Well, I knew I had a dental appointment with him that day, so I decided I'd wait until my yoga class was over to try to contact him so I wouldn't wake him. And I tried getting hold of him, and he wasn't picking up, he wasn't returning my texts. But I went to the dental appointment thinking he would show up, and I immediately called Gideon, and I said he never showed up for his appointment. And he said, well, are you sure he slept at the house last night? And that's when
when we both kind of freaked out.
I yelled, oh my God.
19-year-old Blaze Bernstein was last seen Tuesday night.
We're hoping to find him and bring him home safely.
My dad called me and was like, hey, like, have you heard anything from Blaze? He's not picking up the phone. It's really weird. Like, just let us know if you hear anything. And I'm like, that doesn't sound right.
I was at work, so I basically run out of my office and jump in the car and drive home as quickly as I can. And just go run upstairs and His glasses are there, his wallet's there, his keys are there.
Panicked and confused, the Bernsteins were calling everyone they could think of to see whether anyone had seen or heard from Blaze in the last 12 hours.
And what were they saying?
They didn't know anything.
Nobody knew, where his location was.
Well, I found out that Blaze was missing, and it was just really shocking to me because I was like, there is no way that he could have run away. He wasn't that kind of person.
So this is the period in which begins your amateur
This is what we're trying to
investigation.
figure out
You
what's
become a
going on.
sleuth.
Yeah.
Well, we had no idea what was going on.
He hadn't slept in the bed.
And, his bags for going back to school were already packed.
You think, well, hanging out with some kids, other teenagers, and forgot to call home. You have to believe that's a defense against the most awful.
When it became dark outside, I think that's when we started to really be super concerned.
One of the first things the Bernsteins thought of is using the Find My app, which allows users to share their location with others.
So did you have a follow my friend on the iPhone?
Yes, we did. We had that, and I saw that the location services were turned off.
So we called the sheriff's department.
They came and they were really downplaying it, like, oh, 19-year-olds, they run away sometimes, but they'll be back.
He was adamant that 100% of the time that these kids are out on a booty call or doing something with, he told me.
Of course, we explained that there were some, unique circumstances with regards to, his personal belongings still being here. And so they offered to do a missing persons report.
So a kid disappears without his glasses, his wallet, or his keys. There are people who actually told me about it just in the couple of days after he went missing, who suggested that maybe this was suicide. Did you ever contemplate that?
Never.
Not even close. He was so happy. He was in a great place.
He was in one of the best places I had ever seen him before. That week, he was so happy. He was so excited to go back to school. He was so excited to just have the rest of his life. And so at that point, there was no doubt in my mind, he would never have done that.
Gideon and Jeannie confirmed with Verizon that Blaze hadn't made any recent phone calls. A quick check of his computer revealed no exchanges on iMessage or Facebook DMs. And so with virtually no solid information to go on, the Bernsteins, along with help from their 14-year-old daughter, Bowie, began dipping deeper into Blaze's social media.
We would not have been able to figure it out without the help of kids his age that he grew up with. and our daughter, yes.
I told my parents, I'm like, I can try and help you find everything that you need. I'm really good with Snapchat. I knew the names of a lot of his friends, so I was able to text them and ask them if they knew what was going on.
And that's when the whole evening changed.
Yeah.
When they said, well, what about Snapchat? That's when the light bulb went on. I mean, we were exhausted, but I said, okay, let's try and figure out how to get in.
Snapchat is a free mobile messaging application used to share photos, videos, texts. But what's different about the app is that whatever is shared, including text messages, disappears from the recipient's screen after just a few seconds.
We were lucky because we knew his username because he was connected with our daughter. And the password ended up being one of the ones that we had on our iCloud keychain. So we typed the username, and then we tried that password in, and boom, we're in.
Still, getting into Blaze's Snapchat account was only half the battle. Yes, it might contain a critical record of who Blaze may have been in contact with the night he disappeared, but as the Bernsteins discovered, simply viewing the message might also trigger it to vanish.
At the time, Snapchat worked. If you sent a message, it could only be saved if you purposefully saved it, and it could be deleted by the person who sent it, and it only lasts 24 hours if you don't save it.
And there were so many other pitfalls with this. I mean, if you take a screenshot of these communications because you think you're saving them, well, that alerts the person that sent it to you.
The sender gets an alert.
So if you're dealing with a situation like this, you don't want the person who you're hunting to know that you're onto them.
What you're describing is basically dealing with this digital nitroglycerin that at any moment could just blow up in your faces. And this is the most important thing in your lives right now.
I had my daughter next to me, And I said, okay, I need you to save, because I know there's a way that you can save it, but I didn't really know how.
What time is it by now?
I don't know, it's like close to 10 o'clock at night, like 9:30, 10 o'clock. And we saw that Blaze gave our address out to somebody.
Did you know who?
We didn't know at the time who it was. We saw the name.
I had absolutely no idea who he was. I was so happy that there was somebody who we could talk to that could just help us find my brother.
Bernsteins didn't know the person Blaze sent his address to, but in the hours ahead, the discovery of that person's identity would turn the desperate search for their son upside down.
Hi, this is Blaze's dad. We really need to know what you know. We can't find him.
This is becoming an urgent issue with trying to figure out what really happened to him, and we're going to really need your help on this because you're the last person that probably saw him.
That was not the person that I really expected him to be with.
Who leaves their house without any of their items, at night and doesn't show back up again?
This isn't just anybody. This
Right.
is an Ivy League college student with his whole life in front of him.
Right.
A beautiful life waiting for him.
Hours had passed since anyone had heard or seen Blaze. Did he run away? Was he injured? Had he been abducted? There was no sign of him anywhere. Now, as darkness fell, there was finally a glimmer of hope.
We wanted to make sure that if there was any chance that Blaze was still alive, that we took it. I wanted to ensure that not 1 second was wasted.
And the Bernsteins discovered something else. It was a final text message sent to Blaze at 3 p.m. from his best friend. Hey, I'm really worried about you. Please text me. There was no reply. The Bernsteins frantically reached out to that best friend, who told them Blaze did exchange messages with someone else overnight. Now it seemed that person was their best hope of finding Blaze.
We don't know what the conversations were that led up to his disappearance, so we want that information.
Gideon Bernstein, through his own investigation, found out that there was communication on the Snapchat application. And so he was able to message through direct messaging Sam Woodward.
We didn't know who he was. I was like, oh, we should call him. Like, he definitely knows what's going on. And so I encouraged my dad to call him, and we recorded a call.
We haven't heard from him all day. He missed an appointment today, and then we started getting concerned, and I've been trying to figure things out. So you're the first real clue to the puzzle here.
Yeah, honestly, I'm sorry.
I don't know if my dad told me to record it or if I just had the thought that maybe having any sort of evidence that we could hold on to would be able to help us.
I don't mean to put any pressure on you. I know you're a nice young man, but I'm asking you for help on this if you can, if you've got the ability to do that.
Absolutely. This is, I want to find Blaze as much as you do.
During that call, Sam Woodward told Gideon that Blaze suggested they drive to a nearby park to meet yet another one of his friends, but never mentioned that friend by name.
And he said he invited a third friend to come along. So I said, okay.
I didn't want to speak because I didn't want to get involved, but I was listening and to my dad, just ask him questions and go back and forth.
And then did he get out of the car, or what happened?
Yeah, he got out of the car, and I got out of the car too, and I just asked him, who is this guy? And he's just like, you'll find out in a little bit, he's a friend of mine. And then, so I'm just like, okay, Blaze, and I just waited there by the bathroom, and I didn't see where he went.
I was just thinking to myself, this is maybe weirdest, situation that we could be in at this moment. And I remember that phone call went on for a while, too.
I guess I realized, did something happen to him? So I went back. I searched all over for him where I was at the library. I couldn't find him anywhere. And I guess I just figured he might just call me in the morning or just pranking me, but now I'm scared now.
It's a disturbing phone conversation, which now raises more questions for the Bernsteins than it answers.
We were curious to know who this person was, but then we did find out he was a student at OSHA.
20-year-old Sam Woodward and Blaze were former high school classmates at OSHA.
I have known Sam since he was born, kind of grew up alongside of him. I remember excitement, during Sam telling me that he was going to OSHA.
Woodward grew up only 30 minutes away in the wealthy coastal town of Newport Beach.
Sam was joyful. He was a really happy, special kid.
He lived in this house with his parents and a brother who by all accounts were devout Catholics and attended church regularly.
Everything we did, all the families we spent time with, were from our church.
I did teach Sam Woodward in acting for the camera in his 10th grade, and I had him for the one semester.
For 10 years, Phil Schwadron taught drama and directing for grades 9 through 11 at OSHA.
He was definitely serious. He didn't crack jokes, didn't laugh a lot, as to my memory.
Sam went to OSHA with me from 7th grade to 10th grade. I would say that he did not necessarily fit into the general OSHA artsy vibe.
We came back for what would have been Sam's 11th grade year, and I said, who have I got this year? And my boss said, yeah, you're going to get them all back except one left the school. Who left the school? Sam Woodward left the school.
I wasn't really surprised that he left. I kind of just thought that he left because he just didn't like it there.
After leaving OSHA, Sam enrolled in Corona Del Mar High School. During that time, he became an Eagle Scout, graduating in 2016. Now, 2 years later, nothing seemed to explain how or why this unlikely pair with seemingly nothing in common ended up together in this park. And now, one safely home, the other nowhere to be found. So now you have this critical piece of information.
Yeah.
Do we immediately call the sheriffs and say,
Yes.
we have something?
Yes, we did.
Yep, right away.
And what's their response?
They come over right away.
They came over,
Okay.
and now it was
And-
serious.
We just gave him the lead of the last person we knew that he had seen.
I remember taking that call and showing the police, like, look what I have. We talked to somebody who said that they know where my brother is.
When I first saw the missing persons report and I was reading the details, some of those details definitely stuck out. So something told me just deep within me that this was unusual. So my then partner, investigator, Jack Ackerman, and I went to the park, probably right around lunchtime on January 4th.
I had a feeling as a mother, it was my intuition that something very bad had happened.
On January 3rd, 2018, the day Blaze Bernstein's family realized he was missing, Blaze's sister Bowie recorded a phone call between her father and 20-year-old Sam Woodward, a former high school classmate who says he was one of two people with Blaze the night he disappeared.
I'm sorry, Mr. Bernstein, but your guess is as good as mine.
Woodward said Blaze made plans for a third person to meet up with them in a neighborhood park that night.
Blaze didn't tell me anything about this guy except that he was from OSHA like us.
Really appreciate you calling me and sharing that info. And is it okay if I reach back out to you if I need some help?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I want to find Blaze as much as you do.
When they were talking about meeting another person, I was like, what other person? Who else would my brother, like, be with?
So you want a water? I got a water. What kind of monster you want?
The next day, Orange County Sheriff's investigators bring in Sam Woodward to ask some questions of their own.
You can leave at any time. You're not under arrest or anything like that, okay? We're just trying to
Find Blaze.
find Blaze. That's it.
As investigators get to know Sam Woodward, they learn that he was living with his parents and working odd jobs.
My goals in life are I just want to start a family. I just want to have enough money to support my kids. I just want to have a wife who loves me and get a good job and go to college.
Woodward says he recently reconnected with Blaze on social media.
He said something like, Sam Woodward. Now, that's a face I haven't seen in a while.
I'm looking for eye contact. I'm looking for his general comfortability to try to gain a sense whether somebody I feel is telling me the truth or telling me a lie.
At some point during the conversation on Snapchat, you decided to meet up.
That is correct.
For Blaze's family, the fact that he went out at all that night was a revelation.
We had dinner actually at the dining room table with everybody. He was supposed to fly back to school. So it was going to be the last time my parents were going to see him for quite a while. There was no indication from him that he was going out that night.
During his interview with police, Woodward said that after he picked up Blaze at his house, they drove around for a while, eventually stopping at Borrego Park.
Borrego Park is in the city of Lake Forest. It's a place where you can take your kids. It also has remote hiking trails that stretch for miles.
At some point, somebody exits the car, right?
Mm-hmm. Did he tell you where he was going? He said he was going to meet the friend that he was talking about.
Just like in that call with Blaze's father, Woodward told officers that Blaze was meeting another friend at the park that night. Woodward says he stayed behind as Blaze walked away and disappeared out of sight.
At one point, I heard voices raised in the distance somewhere, but I mean, that happens to my neighborhood all the time. You hear like girls screaming like, ah! And all that. And so I didn't really pay much mind to it.
But I wanted him to feel comfortable talking to me, and he was.
Woodward says he looked for Blaze, but eventually gave up and went home.
I mean, I don't know what happened to him, but something must have.
All that matters is that we find him and we get him back to his family safe.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially her talking to his parents, because his parents are really nice people.
After several hours of questioning, Sam Woodward left. But police, they remained suspicious, so they decided to put him under surveillance.
I'm trying to record it right now. There was a large team that was deployed into the field, and we followed him anywhere that he went.
And with his growing cause of concern for Blaze Bernstein comes the glare of the media spotlight. The Blaze Bernstein missing persons case is now big news.
The Orange County Sheriff's Department searched the park, but they haven't seen any signs of Blaze.
Blaze was supposed to be in school this morning.
He was supposed to fly back Sunday, go to class today, but instead he's missing.
I remember going with my dog to Borrego Park before and kind of just like walking around to see like, what if I find him here?
Bowie documented that desperate period of time with pictures and videos posted on her Snapchat.
Our congregation went into high gear. We printed flyers with his name and picture and the facts and who to call, and we put them up on bulletin boards and poles all around the city.
At this point, it's now in the hands of the police. But you continue to work.
Yes.
Now you take to social media.
Around the clock. You know, it looked like war games in this house. We had terminals all over the dining room table, and we were all just working.
There was an immediate firestorm of attention to this case. We were absolutely inundated with tips from the public. There were hundreds within the first week, and then that grew exponentially.
Some of our contacts were friends with some of the celebrities that were willing to post it on their social media. And so we had the missing persons flyer out for Blaze on, Kobe Bryant's Facebook page, and Charlie Puth, who put it out there, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. So it started to catch a lot of attention.
We were spending every minute talking about it. People were filming in our house, interviewing my parents. Nothing like this ever happened where we were.
Any sign of him, any clothing, obviously him. We're hoping to find him, hoping that he's just incapacitated and in need of some medical assistance so that we can get him and bring him home safely.
There was like this team of people with drones, and they were going throughout Whiting Ranch Wilderness Park, where we were concerned maybe my brother was back there, and maybe there was a mountain lion, or maybe like something happened to him and he was missing or lost.
For the fourth night in a row, the Bernstein family will go to sleep without their oldest son at home.
It was clear as the week wore on that it was more and more dire.
There's a lot of pressure, immense pressure to perform.
Then, on January 9th, with Blaze missing for 7 days now, a discovery which upends the case.
Jack and I were teamed up. Jack said, "Dylan."
You heard it in his voice.
I could hear it in his voice.
We're going to turn now to those new developments in the mysterious disappearance of an Ivy League student.
19-year-old Blaze Bernstein missing while home for winter break.
The Sheriff's Department launched an extensive search with help from the community.
Days had passed since Blaze vanished into the night. The relentless search by police and volunteers had turned up nothing. Just more anguish for the Bernsteins and frustration for authorities.
The Orange County Sheriff's Department searched the park, but they haven't seen any signs of Blaze.
We utilized cadaver dogs. We utilized drones. We had been to Borrego Park and searched that park over and over again with a fine-tooth comb.
On January 9th, a week after Blaze went missing, investigators decided to go back to Borrego Park one more time after obtaining cell phone data showing Blaze and Sam Woodward were there together.
And this is a week after Blaze went missing.
Yeah, it led us to this particular area when all of a sudden Blaze Bernstein's phone at that point in time turned off.
So they'd been together, and suddenly Blaze goes dark.
Blaze goes dark, and then Sam Woodward's phone continues. There was a torrential downpour. It was cold, it was raining, everything was wet, everything was muddy. We searched all this area until my partner, Jack, and I came to this area right here.
I saw a spot that looked unusual, so I walked down. There was a large tree branch covering an area that looked a little odd, like the rain had kind of settled some dirt around something. I moved the tree branch, and you could see the left hip and upper left leg area of a human body.
And you knew?
Knew.
Had to be him.
Instantly. In my gut. Without even seeing the face. And I knew that it was Blaze Bernstein.
They must have found his cell phone as well.
We located a broken cell phone about probably 6 inches, 8 inches below where the body was found.
I was sitting in my English class in 8th grade, and the teacher got a call, and he was like, "Bowie, you're gonna go to the office, they need you for something." And I was like, "Oh, good, maybe some good news." And they took me into this room, and I saw my godmother. She was crying, and I looked at her, and she just hugged me, and she said, "They found him, he is dead. Blaze is gone."
To the index in the body of a college student found in Lake Forest, California. Blaze Bernstein had disappeared 1 week ago. The case now a homicide.
That was the end of hope for me.
We started off this journey over a week ago, looking for our son and asking for everyone to help us find Blaze Bernstein. And we just have learned that they have positively identified our son Blaze's body today.
I just felt so numb, like nothing that had happened in my life had mattered anymore. And then when I got home, my dad was just like, he was just defeated, but he just said, like, "It's gonna be okay. Like, we have each other, it's gonna be okay." Sorry.
The specific details of what occurred at Borrego Park are part of the ongoing investigation.
The autopsy revealed injuries which I believe were a result of an extremely violent encounter. Blaze was stabbed 14 times in the left side of his neck, 5 times in the right side of his neck. He was stabbed, in the knee. He had defensive wounds all over his fingers. He was fighting for his life, and probably a surprise attack.
You hear about that many stab wounds. What does it tell you about the person or the mindset of the person who did that?
Hate and rage. Intimate. It was an intimate killing.
It was devastating news for the family and for the community.
My reaction when I heard it was fury, anger, disbelief. I haven't felt those feelings in my life.
As the investigation into Blaze's murder began, hundreds gathered for a vigil in his honor.
We lost one of our sons. I hope that we can all join together and support the Bernstein family.
The funeral was incredibly painful. We had to ask for RSVPs because we could only accommodate here in the building about 1,100 or 1,200 people. And then there was a public service at the largest space we have in Orange County a few weeks after the funeral, 3,000 seats, and that was full.
I believe most people are good.
Students from Blaze's Performing Arts High School chose to sing Luke Bryan's song, Most People Are Good.
I see a lot of goodness here, and I hope that we can bring more tolerance, more peace, understanding, and love to everything that we do and make a better world for our children. Thank you.
The community wrapped its arms around the Bernstein family. The park near their house where Blaze played as a child and where his body was found turned into a makeshift memorial with messages of love and support from all over the world.
This is a note somebody left us. Dear Lord, please watch over the Bernstein family and give them strength during this time. Please guide our police department to help them find the person or persons who took Blaze away. We still needed answers because we didn't have anybody in custody. In my mind, the hunt was still on.
But for investigators, the hunt would become far more complex because they've discovered that the night of the murder, Blaze's best friend received a text message from Blaze's phone saying, quote, I did something really horrible for the story, but also no one can ever know, end quote. Blaze's friend responds, what story? But gets nothing back.
That was the last text message that was sent from his phone.
The last text message from the phone of a murder victim is always going to be of critical importance to a homicide investigator.
We are 6.5 years since my son was killed.
Blaze is ready. Blaze the trail.
We are all going through our own personal hell right now.
Blaze Bernstein was found with 28 stab wounds.
You hear about that many stab wounds. What does it tell you about the person or the mindset of the person who did that?
A lot of anger somewhere from within, and he took it out on Blaze Bernstein.
Did I introduce him to something that later on came back to haunt us all?
And not only was this just a murder, now we're starting to see a bigger picture.
What do you make of the fact that it's very possible that a neo-Nazi killed Blaze in the United States?
He's the grandson of a Holocaust survivor. This can happen anywhere.
There was almost like a gasp from some people.
Police believe they know who killed Blaze Bernstein.
Were you planning to kill him that night?
I hope that we can all join together and support the Bernstein family.
We're hoping for better results, but yesterday afternoon, sheriff's investigators did find the body of Blaze Bernstein.
19-year-old Blaze Bernstein was first reported missing by his family on January 3rd, 2018. But after a week-long search, he was found dead in a park near his parents' Orange County, California home.
As this investigation moves from search and rescue to a homicide investigation, we ask for your continued support in providing tips and information to the Orange County Sheriff's Department.
As investigators search for answers about who had killed Blaze and why, his parents Jeannie and Gideon flew east to Philadelphia to begin a grim task: cleaning out Blaze's apartment on the campus of the University of Pennsylvania. The grief-stricken Bernstein family invited us to go with them for this emotional and difficult journey.
This is the apartment building that my son moved into. He's on.
Let's first look at his mail.
5 days before he came home to California.
It's been hard especially for Jeannie, to come here, having to go and, basically clean up your child's life after they're gone.
And the kitchen was meticulous. I mean, he had every appliance and everything. I loved his apartment. It was so beautiful. It was so Blaze.
This is the Whisk sweatshirt that my brother got. He was an editor for the Pen Appetit magazine. We were going through his closet and we found it, and I was like, I'm gonna take that.
We had an opportunity to meet Blaze's friends. We will be here for you forever, and we appreciate your friendship.
I'm delighted that Blaze had them in his life because I know that they all made him very happy.
You would have loved this. He used to wear this all the time.
I know.
Oh, that my dad.
Blaze was someone that you can trust with anything, and I trusted him with my life. It was the parent that Blaze was figuring out himself, whether it be religion or sexuality or experience.
At what point as parents did you realize that Blaze was gay?
I had an idea about it when he was probably early high school. I saw something on a phone or that he didn't want me to see, and it kind of confirmed a suspicion that I had, and I think he knew that I had seen it.
We actually had a conversation while he was back at college, and he was telling us essentially, yeah, I am gay, but I just don't want to talk about it.
Did people at school know? Was he?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I think his friends knew at school.
Because Blaze was so open about his sexuality with me, I feel like that definitely gave him a better foundation. So if he was to go to his parents and his family and open up about that part of his life, he would have known that we were all there for him.
You noticed that too? Yeah. I took a picture of it. In the mirror.
As a mother of a gay man, I am proud to be that.
Blaze is ready. Blaze the trail.
You feel like, like an artist, that you have spent your lifetime sculpting this amazing piece of artwork, and then it gets destroyed. And so here we are. Our artwork is gone. Hard to accept.
Back home in California, the investigation continued, and the focus remained on Blaze's former high school classmate, Sam Woodward, the person who admitted to driving with him to Borrego Park.
We have interviewed that friend several times. That person is not in custody, and we are not prepared to comment on persons of interest at this time.
When Orange County Sheriff's investigator Dylan Jansen first spoke with Woodward the day after Blaze was reported missing, he says Woodward seemed nervous and told different versions of where at Borrego Park he and Blaze went that night. And Jansen says Woodward had what appeared to be injuries on his hands.
Those cuts in your hands, they look pretty gnarly. I mean, how do you think you got those from the fight club?
Sam said he was involved with a fight club.
He said that he sustained these cuts to his hands after somebody was clawing at him during one of the fights.
When I swung at him, I kind of fell on my ass. And I usually try and have my hands to break my fall for me, and so I landed on some rocks.
I've heard of fight clubs, but I didn't believe it. Anytime that Sam Woodward was walking around the station, when he touched the doorknobs, he would cover his hands with the sleeves of his sweatshirt. Is he attempting to cover up fingerprints? Is he attempting to cover up DNA? It was definitely something that stood out.
Nearly a week after that interview with police, when Blaze's body was found, investigators went looking for Sam Woodward once again.
Investigators said that when they searched Woodward's bedroom, there was some damning evidence. They found a knife with blood on the handle and on the tip of the blade. They also found bloodstains on a sleeping bag outside his window and on the driver's side of his car.
The knife that was found in Sam Woodward's room, the areas of the vehicle that had apparent blood in it, the sleeping bag that was found on the side of Sam Woodward's home, they were all tested for DNA, and those results concluded to be the blood from Blaze Bernstein.
With this new evidence, police are now ready to make an arrest.
Under arrest, 20-year-old Samuel Lincoln Woodward suspected of killing Blaze Bernstein.
Police say DNA evidence led them to arrest the 19-year-old's former high school classmate.
I remember thinking to myself, that's the guy that was on the phone.
I want to find Blaze as much as you do.
At the time, I thought, I wonder what my brother was thinking before he died. I wonder if he was in pain, or I wonder if he could have saved himself. I think once Sam was arrested, I knew my brother didn't have a chance.
But something authorities were playing pretty close to the vest was motive. Why would Sam Woodward want to kill Blaze Bernstein? As the days unfolded, investigators would confront a possibility they hadn't even originally contemplated.
Not only was this murder, we're starting to see a bigger picture. It was absolutely shocking.
This morning, the Orange County District Attorney's Office filed one felony count of murder against 20-year-old Newport Beach resident Samuel Woodward.
Before joining ABC News, I spent 26 years as a deputy district attorney in the Orange County DA's office, and for a time, I was one of the prosecutors consulting on this case. Sam Woodward was taken into custody 10 days after Blaze went missing and 3 days after his body was found.
There was the victim's DNA on property that was in the control of the defendant.
Well, I remember that moment well. I was sitting in my room. I think I was watching it on television, and I just thought to myself, it's finally happened. Now what?
With the knowledge of how Blaze was murdered, now an excruciating reality for the Bernsteins, the focus turned to why.
Blaze was stabbed nearly 20 times in the neck. Using a knife to kill is particularly violent because you have to be up so close. That many wounds says this was likely a crime of rage or of passion, more personal than your typical murder. So as a prosecutor, my next question would be, who is Sam Woodward and what was his relationship with Blaze?
I had no clue why Blaze would be meeting with Sam. You know, they were never really friends in school. I just know that everybody else got bad vibes from him.
Woodward grew up in Newport Beach, the wealthy suburb south of LA in Orange County. He was a Cub Scout and Eagle Scout, and as we know, Woodward spent part of his high school years at OSHA, the same elite art school where Blaze had also been a student.
It took me a couple of minutes as I watched the footage. It started to dawn on me, oh my God, that's the Sam I taught. Every kid in my acting for the camera class, it was film work. So I said, everybody pick your favorite movie and bring me a scene or a monologue from that film. And he said, I want to do something from the Army. So I gave him Brad Pitt's speech in Inglourious Bastards.
As a bushwhacking guerrilla army, we're going to be doing one thing and one thing only. Killing Nazis.
The provocative Quentin Tarantino World War II thriller is about a plan to assassinate Nazi leaders by a band of Jewish soldiers.
It weighs heavily on me. Did I introduce him to something that later on came back to haunt us all?
A.C. Thompson, an investigative reporter for ProPublica, uncovered some disturbing information when digging into Woodward's background.
When I started reporting on Sam Woodward, what really stuck out to me was this. Sam Woodward was a member of the Atomwaffen Division, which was a neo-Nazi terrorist group that aimed to bring down the U.S. government and incite a race war.
Race war now! Atomwaffen posted violent propaganda videos online to spread a message of hate and to help recruit new members.
The Atomwaffen Division was a neo-Nazi group that existed from about 2015 to 2020. They were inspired by Charles Manson. They were also inspired by Tim McVeigh, the Oklahoma City bomber. They weren't interested in protests or marching in the streets. They wanted to kill people.
That organization was hell-bent on destroying America within, taking down the system.
My reporting team and I got access to thousands and thousands of private chat messages that were between members of the Atomwaffen group. Sam Woodward was one of the people in these chats.
Writing in the chats under the alias Saboteur, Woodward spewed anti-Semitic, anti-gay, misogynist hate.
When we executed the search warrants on several electronic devices, including computers and cell phones and laptops, there were thousands of images of white supremacist propaganda and hundreds of images to include the Atomwaffen Division.
But Woodward's interest in Atomwaffen apparently went beyond just talk in a chat room. Also found on Sam Woodward's devices was a picture with James Mason. He's a neo-Nazi whose writings Atomwaffen members describe as a main influence on the group, along with a photo of Woodward in a skull mask giving the Nazi salute.
Now we're starting to see a bigger picture. Not only was this just a murder, there's a high probability that Sam Woodward killed Blaze Bernstein because he was homosexual, possibly because he was Jewish, or a combination of both.
I'm here to announce the Orange County District Attorney's Office will file an amended complaint, a hate crime enhancement accusing Woodward of intentionally committing first-degree murder, due in whole or in part to Blaze's sexual orientation. We will prove that Woodward killed Blaze because Blaze is gay.
What do you make of the fact that it's very possible that a neo-Nazi killed Blaze in the United States?
Yeah, if that's the case, that's going to be the biggest tragedy of this story.
He's the grandson of a Holocaust survivor. This can happen anywhere. You aren't safe from this type of hate.
But something else that's still not adding up, how were Blaze Bernstein and Sam Woodward connected? They were both from Orange County, but Blaze, a young gay Jewish man, and Woodward, a member of a neo-Nazi group, seemed to have nothing else in common. Why were they together that night in the first place? Sam Woodward would have his day in court with a stunning new look and a surprising defense. While Sam Woodward was arrested for killing Blaze Bernstein in January 2018, it would take 6 years for him to face a jury. Woodward was charged with first-degree murder, a hate crime. He pleaded not guilty.
19-year-old Blaze Bernstein was stabbed repeatedly and killed back in 2018, and now, 6 years later, that trial finally begins today.
By the time the trial was starting, I'd already left the DA's office, but I was watching the proceedings closely.
Still, no one seems prepared for the Sam Woodward that has led into Judge Kimberly Menager's courtroom.
There was almost like a gasp from some people, just the kind of that visceral reaction to kind of seeing him. Long, dark, stringy hair, long, dark beard, covering his face. It's hard not to kind of draw mental comparisons to Charles Manson.
Blaze Bernstein was found
with 28 stab wounds.
Senior Deputy District Attorney Jennifer Walker's opening statements tell the story of a young man who they say set out to murder 19-year-old Blaze Bernstein in cold blood. That hate crime charge, she explains, that was brought because prosecutors believe the evidence showed Sam Woodward murdered Blaze because he was gay, but not because he was Jewish.
You'll see the cell phone evidence, the defendant's words, the defendant's hate.
But in his opening statements, defense attorney Ken Morrison did something we definitely don't see every day by making a stunning admission.
My client, Sam Woodward, was responsible for that death. The why is the single most important issue you will need to decide.
This is no longer a trial about guilt or innocence. The question now becomes, did Woodward plan the killing because of a hatred of gay people? Was it premeditated? If the jury agrees, that could mean a first-degree murder conviction and most likely a sentence of life without the possibility of parole.
Morrison argues for a lesser charge of voluntary manslaughter and an acquittal of the hate crime allegation, which would result in a reduced sentence and a chance for parole.
The evidence will show that Blaze Bernstein's sexual orientation had absolutely nothing to do with the reason he was killed.
Jennifer Walker calls her first witnesses, Blaze Bernstein's parents. Gideon Bernstein now faces down the man who killed his son as he recounts the painful moments when the family first realized that Blaze was missing.
You remember where you were when you got the phone call?
I do remember that, yes.
And why does that stand out in your mind?
Because it was the beginning of hell.
Jennifer Walker then brings an Orange County Sheriff's deputy to the stand to describe what he watched Sam Woodward do on January 5th, 2018, after police decided to put Woodward under surveillance.
What did you observe?
I observed him what appeared to be cleaning his vehicle, the interior and exterior.
He had in his possession what looked like a spray bottle of cleaning product.
Now scrubbing the driver's side door.
It was very strange to us. What was he cleaning? Why?
Jennifer Walker then digs into the heart of her hate crime argument, portraying Sam Woodward as somebody who changed from Eagle Scout to neo-Nazi.
He had developed his long-standing beliefs against Jewish people and gay people, and started joining groups that espoused the views that he had.
This is where Woodward's involvement in the extremist group Atomwaffen becomes key for the prosecution. Investigators say they found these images on Woodward's personal devices.
The prosecution calls an ex-member to the stand whose voice has been altered and his face obscured at the request of the court. He's also using an alias.
Good morning, Mr. Murphy.
Good morning.
Prosecutors allege that Woodward sought out the group, and once there, the fires of his hatred were further stoked as he attended multiple meetings.
So this summer of 2017, Austin, Texas, tell us what you and Sam Woodward did.
We took propaganda photos. That involved us throwing up Nazi salutes. Put the Atomwaffen logo on the photos, for propaganda purposes.
The prosecution also presents what Woodward himself labels Sam's diary of hate, emails he sent to himself over a 7-month period in 2017.
The prey that the defendant had chosen was gay people. And he kept a diary of his feelings and intentions.
And who did the prosecution allege that he was, quote, hunting? Well, they say that Sam Woodward had been visiting online dating sites to connect with gay men.
Downloaded Grindr so I could send photos of their fellow sodomites getting killed and tell them that they're going to be next. They're terrified, LMAO. This is too much fun. They think they're going to get hate crimed, and it scares the out of them.
And this is how the prosecution claims Sam Woodward targeted Blaze while he was hunting for victims on the dating app Tinder. The two men first connected on the app in June of 2017, 3 years after they'd been classmates at OSHA. And then again, the night Blaze disappeared. The last exchange is allegedly what led to their encounter in Borrego Park.
And then here is where the luring starts. And the defendant says, "Is anyone near you right now? Because I just wanted to say." And Blaze says, "Nope." "No, what? No one is near me." And the defendant says, "I might make an exception for you." And the defendant says, "Look, do you have Snap?" And then we have Blaze snapping his address to the defendant at 10:37 p.m. on January 2nd of 2018.
According to prosecutors, the trap had been set and Blaze stumbled right into it that night when he agreed to meet up with Sam Woodward.
But when it's the defense's turn to present its case, jaws will drop in the courtroom because the star witness will be the defendant himself, Sam Woodward. And the crux of the defense's case, that Sam had a secret and would go to any lengths to hide it, even if he had to kill.
He kept saying something that I can only remember as, "I got you already. I got you, I got you."
Today we're going to another day of court. It's definitely a challenge emotionally and mentally to get up and just have to go and do this.
We are 6.5 years since my son was killed. We are all going through our own personal hell right now. The prosecution rested last week, and we're now listening to defense witnesses.
Sam Woodward's defense attorney, Ken Morrison, is making his case.
Sam did not hate Blaze for any reason.
Remember, the defense has acknowledged that 26-year-old Sam Woodward killed Blaze Bernstein, but they insist it was neither a premeditated murder nor a hate crime.
You will also hear lots of additional evidence that helps to explain why this homicide was committed.
But just as Morrison starts laying out his case, the defense team is dealt a blow. The judge rules that some evidence is inadmissible, including that mysterious last text message sent from Blaze's phone on the night of the murder. "I did something really horrible for the story, but also no one can ever know."
The jury then hears how Sam Woodward was diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder, which the defense says hindered his ability to make and maintain friendships and contributed to Sam's acute sense of isolation and loneliness.
This helps to explain how starved Sam was for the camaraderie, the brotherhood, and acceptance, and how profoundly vulnerable he was to recruitment into groups like Adam Waffen.
The defense claims Sam Woodward's participation in Atomwaffen wasn't as much about ideology as it was about connecting with others and just having a good time. Morrison calls former Atomwaffen member Tyler Wiesing to the stand.
So would you characterize the camp as very serious in terms of the ideology, goals, training, that sort of thing?
That was the intent and the image. In the reality, it was a bunch of people getting drunk and not taking things seriously.
As for those Tinder messages, well, the prosecution argued that Sam Woodward was online to hunt and terrorize victims. Morrison says that never happened, and he argues that in this case, it was Blaze who pursued Sam.
June 15, 2017, Blaze Bernstein saw Sam's profile on Tinder, and Blaze Bernstein initiated the first contact with Sam Woodward, not the other way around. And And then Sam says, thing is, you're not too shabby looking yourself, Blaze. Blaze says, oh, well, thanks, Sam. That's sweet of you. Emoji. Sam says, yeah, you're cute, TBH, to be honest.
According to the defense, Sam Woodward was repressing his own feelings of homosexuality, which could help explain the reason behind, quote, Sam's diary of hate.
He's trying to kind of keep this as like this hidden away part of his life, that these hate diary entries are simply narrative constructs to cover up that part of him should Adam Waffen members get suspicious.
Morrison argues that Sam Woodward was tortured by his sexual identity because of what he claims he heard at home. He calls Woodward's mother, Michelle, to the witness stand.
Ms. Woodward, was it ever communicated to your children that homosexuality is a sin?
Yes,
And who communicated that?
my husband.
The defense calls James Markle to the stand, please.
Family friend James Markle tells the court about an incident he says Michelle recounted to him about Sam's father, Blake.
Was there any particular word that Michelle Woodward told you that she would hear Blake call Sam?
He would say, he would say, gay.
But when called to the stand, Sam Woodward's father, Blake, denies using any homophobic slurs.
Would you make derogatory remarks about homosexual people in Sam's presence?
No. But ultimately, the case would hinge on the testimony of the one person who was there the night Blaze Bernstein was killed, Sam Woodward.
The defense is calling on Samuel Woodward.
For the defense, calling their client to testify is a risky move. It can be viewed as a Hail Mary or as a very shrewd tactic to play on the jury's sympathies.
And Mr. Woodward, can I ask you if you're able to move the hair out of your face a little bit?
Sam Woodward's defense attorney, Ken Morrison, takes Woodward through the story of his life, arriving at a key question.
Sam, was there ever a time in your life that you can recall where you wondered whether you might be gay?
No. No, I can't say really there was, no.
This may have just blown up Ken Morrison's defense, which hinges on the argument that Sam Woodward was struggling with his sexual identity. And that will become hugely important because of what Morrison is about to argue Blaze did that night, which he says provoked the attack.
You will learn that Blaze Bernstein was not killed because of who he was, but because of what he did to Sam Woodward after they met up.
What will Sam Woodward say happened that night?
When you drove to Blaze Bernstein's house to pick him up, Sam, were you planning to kill him that night?
It's day 28 in the trial of Sam Woodward, and defense attorney Ken Morrison is questioning his client about the night that he and Blaze ended up in Borrego Park.
I'm pretty sure I said we should hang out at some point, or rather it'd be cool if you wanted to, and right after that, he said to me that he was actually free this night right now, and at that point, I said, all right, cool.
Sam Woodward testifies that after picking up Blaze near his house, the two men eventually arrived at the park. There, on a bench, Woodward claims the night took a dark turn.
Woodward said he smoked some marijuana, was starting to kind of get drowsy, kind of nod off. He feels something and opens his eyes.
I saw a hand right on my crotch with my pants unbuckled. I looked right up and I saw him, and he had his phone in his hand. He kept saying something that I can only remember as, I got you already. I got you, I got you, I got you, I got you, hypocrite. I heard him maybe use the word outed in the same sentence. I couldn't exactly remember.
If Sam Woodward is to be believed, Blaze was threatening him, and that's what made Woodward snap.
What, if anything, did you think he was doing with his cell phone?
I thought he might photograph me. I thought he might send text messages. I thought he might be trying to record me.
So at any point in time, did you see Blaze actually appear as though he was texting any messages?
Yes.
Sam Woodward says his fear was that there had been an image or video taken and that his family would learn about it.
I grew up in a home with my mother and my father and my brother. Loved them more than I can almost speak about. My father, though, if he'd heard about something like that got out somehow, I couldn't fathom that.
Sam Woodward then describes how he says things escalated.
I found one of the knives that I had used to open up the container of marijuana. I just kept driving and driving and driving and driving the knife down.
When you say driving the knife down, Sam, were you stabbing Blaze?
At that point, yes, I was.
In an effort to try to dispel any argument that this was a hate crime, Morrison asks Sam Woodward two final questions.
When you drove to Blaze Bernstein's house to pick him up, Sam, were you planning to kill him that night?
No, not at all.
Did you hate him because he was gay?
No, not at all.
But now, here's where the gamble of putting Woodward on the stand could either pay off or lose big.
Okay, so walk me through it, sir.
On cross-examination, Jennifer Walker attacks Woodward's credibility.
The left side of his neck was closest to you, right? If he's sitting to your right?
Everything was a blur.
Well, how did you stab him 14 separate times on the left side of his neck when he was sitting right next to you?
I can't remember.
And how did you stab him 5 separate times on the right side of his neck when he was sitting to your right?
I can't remember.
After a trial full of fits and starts, spanning almost 3 months, the case goes to the jury. The jury deliberates for about 8 hours.
We, the jury, in the above entitled action, find the defendant, Samuel Woodward, guilty of the crime of first-degree murder.
It's an emotional moment, even for the court clerk.
A felony and violate. Just 1 second.
Sure.
I've prosecuted a lot of murder cases, and I can't say I've ever seen a court clerk react like that.
We, the jury, in the above entitled action, find it to be true that the defendant, Samuel Woodward, committed hate crime, first-degree murder.
We are thrilled with the verdict, which holds Samuel Woodward accountable for the brutal, violent, painful murder of our son. Justice has been served. Thank you.
Breaking news now, an emotional afternoon in an Orange County courtroom. The sentencing has just been handed down for the man convicted in the hate crime murder of Blaze Bernstein.
This time the court does sentence the defendant to state prison for the term prescribed by law, which is life without the possibility of parole.
The jury said that they saw this as a hate crime and that hate was not going to get you anywhere in this world.
In the 7 years since Blaze Bernstein's murder, the family of Sam Woodward has never spoken out beyond their court testimony. But the Bernsteins say the Woodwards did leave something for them back in 2018.
Have they reached out to you, by the way?
Yeah.
We found a note under our doormat.
What did it say, this note?
Orange County Sheriff's investigator Sergeant Dylan Jansen knows Borrego Park a lot better than he would like to. In the initial days of the investigation, how many hours would you say you spent at this park here?
Countless. I spent a lot of time over here just looking, thinking, analyzing, what was the truth, what's not the truth.
We may never know exactly what happened the night Blaze was murdered or what that last text message meant. But Sergeant Jansen can answer one question based on the evidence.
That cell phone, even though it was damaged, we were able to send it to various companies to restructure the cell phone and extract any and all information on there.
Were there any pictures of that night?
No.
This park is pretty meaningful for you.
So we stop here and go check out the garden of rocks that are now over in the corner.
Do you feel that you get a little bit of closure each time you put one more rock down?
I don't even know what closure is. When you lose a child, I think maybe closure for me will be just being able to look at all of these things and be happy.
Almost 7 years after I walked in Borrego Park with the Bernsteins, the memorial of painted stones honoring their son has blossomed. Jeannie and Gideon have both moved away from Foothill Ranch, but they tell me they still find solace in this place.
In the Jewish tradition, it is a thing that you put rocks at a gravesite.
And there's a permanence to it.
It gives us some feeling of connection to people, the people that will hear our story and understand the importance of eradicating hate in this world. This is about love.
Since 2018, the Bernsteins have been building a movement. They call it Blaze It Forward.
The Blaze It Forward campaign was based off the idea that as a community, we can make a difference and we can change the way that this world works. We were able to take that in my brother's honor to try and encourage people to just do one good thing every day.
They participate in local pride parades, and Jeannie hosts a podcast featuring people doing good in the world. Sam Woodward's parents, Blake and Michelle Woodward, never responded to an interview request with ABC News, but they did write a letter to the court submitted at sentencing. It reads, in part, "In the past, you could look into Sam's eyes and be surprised at the level of sensitivity and warmth. It's one of his best traits. Now, he's too vulnerable to let you look him in the eyes. He committed a crime, but he is not a person without value, unworthy of respect."
Speaking about the Woodward parents, they left a note at your house in 2018, right?
They did. At the time, I thought it was infuriating because one of the things that they said in that letter was that that both families are going through a hard time right now. I don't think that she had any idea how hard of a time we were having.
But there's another letter that holds more meaning for Jeannie and Gideon, discovered after the trial, tucked among the colorful painted stones of Blaze's memorial.
This is a copy of a note that was left for us in the park by one of the jurors. She basically says in this letter to Blaze that she's really sorry that she didn't get to know him.
Thank you everyone for coming to class today.
So Blaze would be 27. Do you ever think about what he would be like today had he lived?
He'd be doing something fantastic. I know that about Blaze, and he'd be making people happy. That's what he did. Blaze is always on my mind. I think about him from the minute I wake up until I go to bed at night. He was my person.
He was a piece of man. He's gone. But I'm still here, and whatever he's done to make an impact on this world is what we're going to leverage and try to make sure that people never forget about our son and what happened.
Sam Woodward's defense lawyer, Ken Morrison, David, says his client didn't get a fair trial. Woodward has appealed.
Morrison claims there are several appellate issues because of evidence the jury was not allowed to see. In the meantime, that is our program for tonight. Thanks so much for watching. I'm David Muir.
And I'm Deborah Roberts. From all of us here at 2020 and ABC News, good night.
Tonight, a small town scandal when a beloved minister is killed.
And his wife and children go missing, but for how long and why? 2020 starts right now.
Why do you think the public was captivated with this story?
It was something that was so totally unexpected.
Someone had broken into the home, killed Matthew with the gunshot, and then took Mary and the girls and left.
A church pastor is dead, and his family is missing at this hour.
When you add religion to murder and then sprinkle in abuse, and everyone's in shock and no one knows who to believe.
This is pretty telling. The killer unplugged the phone.
Yes.
So no one could call anyone for help.
People were frantic, thinking that there may be a killer on the loose.
The most important thing to them right now is to find Mary Winkler and find the 3 girls.
So how does that missing wife and mother go from lost to found?
Ma'am, get out of the vehicle. Get your hands out of the vehicle now. Get out.
Winding up in a police investigation.
I have nerve now, and I have self-esteem, and so my ugly came out.
I guess my ugly came out. What does that mean?
We could not have fathomed what actually did come out, not in our wildest thoughts.
This is stuff that doesn't happen to church folks.
The ugly side came out. Somebody ended up shot dead.
It became one of the biggest, most talked about stories in the entire country. And it all started here in the heart of the Bible Belt, in this small church in the tiny town of Selmer, Tennessee. Matthew Winkler would preach to his congregation every Sunday morning here about right and wrong and about living your life in the service of God.
On March 22nd, 2006, everyone was gathering at the church, ready for the Wednesday night service.
Matthew Winkler was pretty new at being the new head preacher, so he certainly didn't miss any services.
It's unheard of for the preacher, his wife, and his daughters who are there every week, and they don't show up.
But even though they kept watching the door, waiting for him to come through it with apologies and messages of love for the congregation, it never happened.
Overcome with worry and concern, some of the members of the congregation take a 5-minute drive to the church parsonage behind me. It's where the minister, Matthew, his wife, and 3 children lived. Once inside, the church members make a shocking discovery.
We were knocking on the windows, knocking on the doors. At that point is when I felt that something was wrong because the key was on the inside of the door, the TV was on, and there was no answer.
At some point, they go inside the home, walk through, calling his name, calling Mary's name, calling for the girls.
We're yelling, is anyone in here? Can anybody hear us?
They looked around, no Mary, no little girls. Everything looked normal, nothing looked out of place. But the master bedroom door was shut. They walked over and opened it, and all their nightmares were answered.
Saw Matthew laying there on his back. A foam was protruding from his mouth and nose. We knew pretty obviously that he was dead at that time. So we called 911, and then we all gathered in the living room and held hands and prayed for Mary and the children because we had assumed that they had been abducted.
Church members couldn't fathom who would kill their preacher. This was a man who, in fact, was considered religious royalty here in Tennessee, coming from a long line of distinguished.
Also,
Mary was raised in a strict household in Knoxville, Tennessee. At South Doyle High School, she was known as a reserved student with a good sense of humor.
She didn't draw a lot of attention to herself. That's also true of many women in the Churches of Christ Church. They don't want to bring a lot of attention on themselves.
Mary was cute as a button. She was always ready with a smile and a touch on the hand. And she just was the perfect embodiment of a Church of Christ woman.
Mary and Matthew met at Freed-Hardeman College. It's a college affiliated with the Church of Christ. And Mary has said that initially they were just friends, but then they started dating, and apparently Matthew must have liked her because 3 months later he asked her to marry him.
Both Matthew and Mary dropped out of school because they couldn't afford it anymore. And then Matthew got work as a youth minister in McMinnville, Tennessee. How would you describe the Church of Christ to someone who's not familiar with it?
It's very conservative, a Bible-based church. We say we have no creed but the Bible.
They believe in the literal interpretation of the Bible. And there are scriptures in the Bible that says that a woman is subservient to the man. Board of elders, the preacher, all of those in the leadership positions are men.
Tell me about Matthew's temperament.
Gregarious, somebody who could go into a room of strangers and make friends within minutes.
Magnetic personality.
Magnetic personality.
Your impression of Mary?
Mary seemed like a frail and vulnerable woman. She had a downcast look. She would not make eye contact, and she was walking 3 or 4 steps behind Matthew.
Matthew had this feeling he couldn't measure up to his father. He bristled under just being a youth minister. He wanted to be the preacher of his own church.
It was in January of 2005 that Matthew and Mary Winkler moved here to the town of Selmer. Matthew had just landed his dream job, named the head pastor here at the Church of Christ.
Selmer is a sleepy little town in Tennessee, right by the border with Mississippi. It is a place where people sit out on their porch drinking sweet tea and talking with their neighbors as they walk by. It's very southern in so many ways.
One of Elvis Presley's first outside of Memphis performances was here in this county. The highway going through Selmer to Elvis's home is called Rockabilly Highway.
What is this town like?
Small town.
Yeah.
Close unit family.
Pretty religious? I see a lot of churches here.
Yes. Almost every corner you'll find a church.
True happiness is found in God's Word. True happiness is not only found in God's Word, it's found by living the way God says to live in that Word.
The Winklers found a wonderful church in Selmer, Tennessee, and the people of the community and congregation embraced them and welcomed them. It seemed like the perfect scenario. That is, until March 22nd of 2006, when that beloved young minister was found dead on the floor of his bedroom.
Was it a kidnapping and it just went wrong?
Someone definitely intended to kill Matthew Winkler.
In a small town, people were frantic, thinking there was a killer on the loose.
And where were Mary and the girls?
Someone unknown come into the home, killed Matthew, and gone off in the family van with the 3 girls and Mary, holding them captive.
On March 21st, 2006, in the small town of Selmer, Tennessee, Matthew and Mary Winkler, along with their 3 little girls, settle in for a quiet evening at home. They order pizza and watch the animated movie Chicken Little.
The sky is falling! The sky is falling!
But somehow, this everyday peaceful family activity would turn into a gruesome crime scene with seemingly deadly intention.
Matthew Winkler was shot in the back with a 12-gauge shotgun. 12-gauge shotgun is either used to hunt or personal protection, and it's used to kill. My initial thought was someone definitely intended to kill Matthew Winkler.
Members of the 4th Street Church of Christ find their beloved minister, Matthew Winkler, dead in his home, just minutes away from the sanctuary. They immediately call the police. Where were you when you got the phone call?
I was at home, of course, in bed, or getting ready to go to bed. Then I immediately started reaching out to the agents and the crime scene team to get them to start responding to this location.
When the police came into the house, they cleared all the church members out, but they interviewed them as well and started picking apart the scene, looking for anything that could give them information.
They would have started with the interior, taking photographs, taking measurements.
Nothing was out of place. It wasn't ransacked, looking for valuables. But what would stand out is when you got to the back bedroom.
There were blood stains on the pillows. There were blood stains on the floor.
Matthew was laying beside the bed, and that's where he was found.
But you think he was shot while he was still in bed?
Yes, and he would have rolled over.
Investigators were thinking of a lot of things that this scenario suggested.
You have someone fatally wounded. No one else is around. Is this some type of robbery that had turned into murder?
Was this a vendetta or was it a kidnapping? And it just went wrong.
At that point, you don't know?
You don't know. I mean, it's a mystery.
What do we have here?
This is actually the bed.
This is the
That
bed.
would have been where he was sleeping.
Could have been shot from here or from here.
Well, probably from this side.
Right.
He was shot on the bed, so that tells you that the shooter had no confrontation with him. There was no defense that Matthew could have put up, being that he was shot in the back.
And this is the shotgun shell.
It's actually the round that killed him.
Over here, this is the bird shot.
That's some of the bird shot
recovered from his body.
Correct.
This is the actual shotgun.
Yes, sir.
Can you show it to us?
That's 12 gauge pump.
What kind of damage can it do? Close up.
Well, lots of damage.
A 12-gauge shotgun shooting birdshot. When it makes impact, it's going to explode with all of these pellets. And Matthew had somewhere over 70 pellets in his back.
And for investigators, each crime scene tells its own story. And this one would reveal a chilling detail. It seemed that the perpetrator wanted to seal Matthew's fate with absolute certainty.
They were very disturbed when they noticed the telephone clearly placed in a position that was out of Matthew's reach. And it was disconnected from the wall jack.
So the killer unplugged the phone.
Yes.
So no one could call anywhere for help.
That's what we believe.
Even if he was able to survive or even live long enough to reach up and grab the receiver and hit 0, it wasn't going to work.
There is breaking news that we've been following all day out of Selmer, Tennessee. It is a case of tragedy in a small town. A church pastor is dead.
While investigators were combing through the crime scene, news of the death of the much-beloved preacher Matthew Winkler shook Selmer to its core.
And, you know, it's just shock. Everybody's just in shock about it.
This is the 4th Street Church of Christ here in Selmer, and all day long, church members have been coming and going. You can see it in their faces how distraught they are about the death of Pastor Matthew Winkler.
Who would have done something like this? Everybody loved him from what we understood.
People were frantic, thinking that there may be a killer somewhere in their community.
And do police have a motive they're working on? Any kind of theory here?
Now, they are telling us very, very little about this.
Matthew was often approached by people who had addiction problems or financial problems. What if Matthew turned one of those people away? What if they had come back in anger?
An Amber Alert is issued for 3 little girls.
Police need to find Mary Winkler, 1-year-old Brianna, 6-year-old Mary Alice, and 8-year-old Patricia.
They, along with their gray minivan, were missing. Were they in danger?
An Amber Alert is issued for 3 little girls. They disappeared from their home in Selmer, Tennessee. Their mother is missing as well. Church members found their father, Pastor Matthew Winkler, dead.
With a young minister found dead in his bedroom, the community of Selmer was on edge.
There was a possibility this could have been a burglary that turned into murder.
Who is here in our community that would do that? You know, this person's loose. People were worried.
Take a look at the van the mother and the children may be in. It is a 2006 gray Toyota Sienna.
The most important thing to them right now is to find Mary Winkler and find the 3 girls.
Almost 24 hours after the discovery of Matthew's body, there's a sighting of a gray minivan matching the description of the Winklers' missing vehicle. It was spotted in the seaside community of Orange Beach, Alabama.
That shoreline is particularly spectacular. They call it the Gold Coast of Alabama.
1025, get ready. I was traveling westbound on the road directly behind us.
That's it. 10-4, that is the vehicle.
And this van pulled right out in front of me, a Toyota Sienna minivan, matching the description of the van we'd been looking for.
10-4, we're pulling in the parking lot. 1033.
Knowing that there was a possibility that Mary and her girls had been kidnapped, they were extremely cautious approaching that vehicle. They had their guns out.
Ma'am, get out of the vehicle. Get your hands out of the vehicle now! Yeah, step out of the vehicle. Put the vehicle in park and step out.
There she was, Mary Winkler, in a pink jumpsuit, looking as innocent as anybody walking down the street could look.
With no supposed kidnapper behind the wheel.
Walk back! Walk back! Keep walking!
Mary Winkler goes from being a potential victim to a suspect in her husband's death.
She got out and she never asked why she was stopped, why there was officers pointing guns at her or anything. She made no really expression on her face, and she was detained.
Hey girl, how you doing?
After we detained her, we ran to the minivan to check the welfare of the children. They just kept repeating, what's going on, where's mommy going?
Did my mommy do anything?
Shortly after Mary's arrest, police search the minivan and they make a stunning discovery.
It was soon after Mary was apprehended by the Orange Beach Police Department. A shotgun was found in the minivan.
You've heard the term, we found the smoking gun. Well, that's exactly what we thought. We had found the smoking gun, and it was just our job now to put the facts and the details together.
Back in 2006, Stan Stabler was a corporal with the Alabama Bureau of Investigation.
I received a call from Orange Beach Police Department that evening. They requested that I come to interview Mary Winkler.
It's March 23, it's about 9:55 p.m. We're at Orange Beach PD. I'm Stan Stable with ABI. If you would just speak your name for me, please, ma'am.
Mary Winkler.
When we first started, I got a lot of background information about her, their marriage.
How long have you been married?
9 years, 11 months.
How was your marriage?
Good.
We talked about the children.
I met your daughters, and very sweet girls. Have McDonald's, they eat, they're wrapped up in blankets, warm, watching a movie.
Thank you.
I wanted to build a rapport with Mary where she felt comfortable with me.
Want something to drink?
Water's fantastic.
Okay.
Sitting across from him is this eerily calm mother of three, 400 miles away from home. Stan Stabler wondered why did Mary Winkler drive her girls all the way to Orange Beach, Alabama?
They've never been to the beach that they remember. This is just my last time to be with them. I just wanted to be with them before they had bad days, to have a happy day.
She wanted to spend some time with the girls because she felt that she would not be seeing them after she was caught.
I asked her about anyone else involved, an affair.
Y'all didn't have any major problems going on?
No.
Anybody else involved with either party?
Oh, no.
She was not as emotional as a person should be if they learned about the murder of their spouse.
Just go step from step and tell me what happened.
I just can't.
Why can't you talk to us? Is it me?
No.
She was very strong-willed not to disclose a lot of details.
I want to hear your side.
I appreciate it. I feel like you have genuine concern, and I do appreciate you.
Tell me why a mother of three, a wife of over 9 years, almost 10 years, what would make you do this? Why?
No comment.
It was a very, very strange interview.
Has he ever hurt you?
Not physically.
She said she did not want to talk about Matthew because she didn't, quote, want to smear him.
No matter what, in the end, I don't want him smeared.
All we are seeking the truth. And we're not here to smear anybody.
Corporal Stabler asks Mary about that shotgun that police suspect she used to kill her husband.
Did you load it?
I messed it up and then put it back.
Where was it?
We keep it in the top of the closet out of reach.
The truth started coming out. Mary admitted she was holding that gun. She didn't admit that she pulled the trigger. Said she didn't remember that.
How many times did you shoot? Just one time?
Surely not.
Huh?
Surely not.
How do you know you didn't shoot more than once?
I don't.
And then finally, after almost 2 hours of questioning, a possible motive.
I love you dearly. But gosh, he could just nail me in the ground. I have nerve now, and I have self-esteem. And so my ugly came out.
When the ugly side came out, somebody ended up shot dead.
For almost 2 hours, Corporal Stan Stabler prods Mary Winkler about her relationship with her late husband, Matthew.
Mary Winkler eventually, during that interview in Alabama, did tell investigators that he picked on her. What she was describing as someone who was abusive.
How would he run you down? Bad mouth?
Chewing on you, yeah.
Just fussing at you,
Just
nagging all the
mistakes.
time?
And some well-deserved, by all means.
If it's over.
But gosh, I don't want to talk about that now. I love you dearly. But gosh, he could just nail me in the ground. I just took it like a mouse. Didn't think anything different. I never spoke up.
She told me he was a good man. He was a good father. He was a good husband. She said, you know, at times he would get mad. She related it to blood pressure problems.
But he was so good. He was so good, too. A lot of times he had high blood pressure, but he'd never go enough to the doctor to get medicine for it. There's no sense, you know, just say the lady was a moron, evil woman.
She said she had had thoughts in the past about killing him.
Yeah, I didn't just get up and say, hey, let's see how this thing works. I've been battling it not to do that for him, and I don't know why.
Was he chewing on you when it happened?
I don't even know.
Mary had said that she got a job. Then she said her self-esteem started coming out. And then she started speaking up about things she didn't like.
I have nerve now, and I have self-esteem. And so my ugly came out.
When the ugly side came out, somebody ended up shot dead. So that's what Mary's ugly side is. The side that shoots her husband in the back with a shotgun.
Mary waived her right to an extradition hearing and willingly went back to face justice in Tennessee.
While in Tennessee, investigators from the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation take another statement from Mary, which she initials.
And this time, Mary drops a few bombshells about the morning Matthew was killed. While she never admits to pulling the trigger of the shotgun, Mary does tell TBI agents she heard a loud boom, wiped blood from Matthew's mouth, and told him she was sorry.
It became real obvious that there was only one thing for the police in Tennessee to do, and that was to charge her with murder.
The startling account of a pastor's wife accused of killing her husband becomes big national news.
This is Good Morning America.
That murder mystery that has stunned everyone. A popular minister in Tennessee gunned down in his home, and the confessed killer is his young wife. Why?
People were like, what? The preacher's wife? That's who killed him?
Once a minister's wife, now accused of murder. As Mary sat in jail, hundreds packed in the 4th Street Church of Christ to mourn the loss of Matthew.
We want to first of all thank all of you for the love and care you've shown for the Winkler family.
As for the Winklers' 3 daughters, they're in the care of Matthew's parents.
The girls are going to need a lot of care and attention. And now we turn 100% of our attention to them.
As the news of Mary Winkler's arrest spread like wildfire through this tight-knit community of Selmer, there were rumblings that her husband Matthew may have had a darker side. There had to be a good reason, some speculated, for Mary to pick up that shotgun and then shoot her husband in the back.
People were wondering what would cause them to have their ugly come out.
Knowing Mary the way I did, I knew that he had to do something to push her over.
Mary's sisters say they saw a change in Mary once she got married.
I don't remember hearing her laugh. She was not a happy person.
Mary's other sister, Amanda, and her father, Clark, say they saw bruises on Mary.
I didn't say anything because if I was to say who gave that to you and that would make her mad, I wouldn't see her again.
I saw terrible bruises, the heaviest of makeup covering facial bruises. So one day I confronted her and I said, Mary Carol, you are coming off as a very abused wife. And Mary Carol would hang her head and say, no, Dad, everything's all right, everything's all right. And several times I talked very seriously to her about leaving him, and she just did not want to. I feel so bad about this. I feel like I have a part in it. I should have talked more to Mary Carol.
There were people who said that they did see a short temper in Matthew. According to the neighbor, their dog had gotten into the Winkler yard, and Matthew yelled at the neighbor.
He said, keep that damn dog out of our yard or we'll shoot him. He had a temper on him. I've never met a preacher like him.
This never rose where it was ever a volatile encounter with somebody. It was just being stern, like the dog, hey, please do this. I've warned you.
As investigators dig deep into the Winklers' lives, they come to believe that Matthew's killing may actually have been about money.
That's what was the root of the evil in this whole situation.
According to them, Mary was knee-deep in financial fraud, and investigators suspect that weighing heavily on her mind was an upcoming trip to the local bank.
The bankers set a meeting for Mary and Matthew to meet at the bank on March 22nd.
I think she was desperate and afraid.
Mrs. Winkler is set for arraignment before a McNairy County judge.
After Matthew's death, Mary appeared in a Selmer courtroom, trading in her Sunday best for an orange jumpsuit.
It was somewhat of a shocking vision because she just does not look like anyone who could do anything like shoot her husband.
State of Tennessee versus Mary Carol Winkler. You're charged under Tennessee Code with first-degree murder.
After pleading not guilty to first-degree murder, Mary is led away in shackles.
Outside of the courthouse, church members stood in solidarity with the preacher's wife.
We had a special prayer for her at church last night, and we forgave her.
It's in God's plan, but there has to be a reason, because if we can't believe that, we cannot go on.
Mary's supporters believe that her years of alleged abuse culminated in the accidental shooting death of her husband. But investigators say the real motive in this case was money.
Early on in the investigation, TBI was interviewing local banks, and they more or less came to the TBI and said, we got to tell you what's going on here.
Investigators have learned from bank officials that Mary was in over her head financially
after they say she got caught up in a so-called lottery scam, which was sweeping the country.
A lottery scam is when you get email or even a letter that tells you that you have won a lottery.
Here's how it works. The scammer sends a counterfeit check for an initial payment worth thousands of dollars. Now, in return, you're supposed to send them money to cover the processing fees.
The scammers make money off what you send them. Meanwhile, all you get is a worthless check.
Mary had entered all sorts of things. So when she got this saying that she'd won $250,000, she believed him.
What do we have here?
These are bogus checks.
So Mary Winkler got these checks in the mail.
Yes.
And she thought, wow, $4,880, $4,900.
Yeah. You're going to receive a lot more once you send us the money, but she did not send the money back. She kept all the money. Back in those days, if a person deposited a check or cashed a check, they would actually receive the complete amount of money because it immediately went into your bank account.
Back then, you just didn't have the automation like you have today. So it could take weeks for the checks to come back as counterfeit. So when that happened, the banks wanted their money back from Mary, over $16,000.
And that is when investigators allege Mary cooked up a scheme of her own to cover her losses.
She was actually writing checks for one bank to cover checks at another bank.
What investigators say Mary was doing is called check kiting, floating funds between banks, and that's where the kite comes in.
And in doing so, she knew that she didn't have the funds in that bank to cover the charges, and that is an illegal act.
It's easy to see how desperation can lead you down that path where you're trying to find a way out and you don't know what to do.
Was there any evidence that Matthew, her husband, the minister, was in on this or knew about it?
We have no evidence because he never went to the bank. He never had his name on anything. These other accounts was in her name, so he wouldn't have access to her accounts.
According to investigators, Mary went to great lengths to conceal her alleged financial crimes from Matthew.
They say she opened up a personal account out of town, changed her mailing address to a P.O. box,
and she even tried to remove Matthew's name from their bank account. But investigators say Mary's alleged financial scheme fell apart after one late deposit sent her bank account into a tailspin.
I think it got a little out of hand because she got at some point like $5,000 overdrawn, which is a really bad position to be in. $5,000 in 2006 on a small town pastor's pay and a substitute teacher. You might as well say $100,000.
Things came to a head on March 21st, 2006. That day, Mary Winkler was working as a substitute teacher here at Selmer Elementary School. She receives an urgent call from the bank asking her to come in the very next day to clear up her overdrawn account. And they tell her to bring her husband, Matthew, along.
In fact, in this statement to TBI, Mary admitted to having a heated discussion with Matthew about their finances the night before the shooting. She says, "I had gotten a call from the bank, and we were having troubles, mostly my fault, bad bookkeeping." And then she goes on to say that the two were upset with each other and that she got to a point and snapped.
Do you think this is why she killed him?
Oh, yes, that somebody's going to have to face the music, and it was going to come back on her.
There must have been a lot of pressure on Mary to keep that away from Matthew. It was going to be embarrassing for the Church of Christ congregation. It was going to speak very loudly that something's amiss in this family. It's a reflection of the church. It's a reflection of God.
How's Mary feeling?
Prosecutors might think this is an open and shut case, but as Mary's murder trial gets underway, no one could imagine the twists and turns to come.
Mary Winkler had what appeared to everyone a marriage made in heaven, but behind closed doors, it was a living hell.
Miss Winkler, if you'll come forward, please, ma'am.
And when the demure preacher's wife takes the stand, dark and lurid details would soon come to light.
Did it hurt you?
Yes, sir.
Oh, my goodness gracious.
This is stuff that doesn't happen to church folks.
Preacher's wife does not wear this kind of shoe.
Had there been a quiet rage brewing,
We could not have fathomed what actually did come out, not in our wildest thoughts.
And now he's got a hellacious shotgun wound in his back. And his wife wants you to believe that she was driven to it.
She certainly wasn't acting like someone who shot her husband in the back.
I don't know that anyone anywhere had any idea of what was to come in this trial.
So it got heated in the jury room.
How are you going to defend yourself?
He threatened me with the shotgun many times, put it in my face.
Mary Winkler appeared to have had a marriage made in heaven, but behind closed doors, it was a living hell.
When they brought out the shoe and the wig, there was a gasp in the courtroom.
Maybe you want me to wear it? To dress up?
Dress up for what purpose, Mary?
Sex.
Oh my God, wow.
But if you looked up spousal abuse in the dictionary, you're going to see Mary Winkler's picture looking back at you.
Was Mary Winkler a victim or a villain?
Will the real Mary Winkler please stand up?
A grand jury had indicted Mary Winkler on a first-degree murder charge for the killing of her preacher husband, Matthew Winkler. She pled not guilty and went back to McMinnville after her father posted her $750,000 bond. Mary's 3 girls continued living with Matthew's parents, whom they'd been with since Mary's arrest.
Everywhere, everyone was covering the story of Mary Winkler. When you put the story in a nutshell, this preacher's wife shoots her husband in the back while he's sleeping and then takes her daughters to the beach. That sounds outrageous. Absolutely outrageous. How can you not follow that story?
Well, people were wondering what would bring someone to this breaking point. What would cause them to have their ugly come out? And I think that was the big question.
And the fact this happened in the heart of the South, in the Bible Belt, was like fascinating to people because it wasn't supposed to happen. These are supposed to be godly people. Well, you know, godly does not mean perfect. And Mary proved that very well.
So this is the cleaners where Mary worked?
Yes. We're at the dry cleaners, where Dry Cleaning Express, where Mary worked during her bond supervision. I would have to come and check on her.
What were your impressions of her during that bond period?
She was just real quiet, reserved.
We all just really loved her, and, you know, we got to be good friends. And we picked up a lot of new customers from her church that has decided to do business here because they want to be supportive of Mary.
But one question dividing the people of the town following the case at the time: was Mary actually the quiet preacher's wife everyone thought they knew, or was there another side to her, like the one Libby St. John and her husband at the time saw one night at a restaurant in McMinnville?
Well, we had been in there sitting at the bar, and Mary came in, and she was chain smoking cigarettes and drinking. It just seemed like she was so carefree that evening that it just shocked me. I almost wanted to go over there and say, listen, this isn't a good idea for you to be doing this. The owner of that establishment said while she was out on bond, she'd been there to celebrate several different occasions and her birthday recently. And so she'd been there several times. It just wasn't a one-off. You don't usually see Church of Christ preachers' wives smoking. She certainly wasn't acting like someone who'd shot her husband in the back.
And your husband at the time starts taking pictures.
He took them with his cell phone. The pictures made quite a splash when they came out.
These cell phone pictures, first obtained by Action News 5, are the talk of this quiet town.
I remember the bar pictures, the very things that seemed completely out of character from what anybody's seen.
She was not supposed to be drinking.
Well, I think that basically it was not excessive alcohol. I think that's what was on the bond.
But it didn't look good.
No, I'm sure it didn't look, no, it probably didn't look good. Didn't sit well with people.
The way this came to us, this was like walking into a Kafka novel.
Nothing lines up with logic.
Her life was taking some strange turns that didn't make any sense.
Her outward appearance changed, her clothing changed. It was like someone flipped a switch.
And when she started kind of hanging out at night, there was a feeling that this was a little quick. Why are you doing this? Maybe were you that the whole time? And it just gave people pause.
Will the real Mary Winkler please stand up? Is she the quiet, docile minister's wife, or is she something quite different?
With the trial gearing up, everyone was about to hear a tale they never expected from the preacher's wife.
Yeah. I don't know that anyone in Selma, and few people anywhere, had any idea of what was to come in this trial.
Mary's murder trial began on April 9, 2007, with the prosecution pushing for a first-degree conviction. The case was one of the biggest things the small town of Selma, Tennessee has ever seen. The media put this tiny courthouse right in the middle of the public's attention.
Television stations from Nashville, from Memphis, some from Huntsville, Alabama, were there in the courthouse because this was such a big story.
What was interesting was Mary Winkler arriving with her attorneys, appearing about as meek as you could appear.
Inside, the courtroom was packed, and the crowd included members of both families.
You had Matthew Winkler's parents there. Mary Winkler's family was there, her father.
We may begin with opening statements. The state may proceed first.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Walt Freeland. I'm an assistant district attorney. My strategy, like in every case, is to put on all my facts, because facts are stubborn things. You have to set aside whatever you think might have happened and just listen to the facts. There is no good reason why Matthew Winkler was murdered by Mary Winkler.
The jurors are about to hear Mary's interrogation tape, where she says she snapped because of Matthew.
He would knock your self-esteem down?
No, just chewing whatever. And that's the problem. I have nerve now, and I have self-esteem, and so my ugly came out.
Just kind of got to a boiling point. Just boil over.
There's no sense, just say the lady was a moron, evil woman, and let's go on with it.
Prosecutors bring out that big, powerful shotgun that was used to kill Matthew. The point being to show the jurors that this could not have been an accident.
You couldn't just pick the gun up and pull the trigger unless it had been racked.
Could you prime it or pump it or whatever it takes to get it in a functioning position? Could you do that?
Yes, sir.
By racking the shotgun, it places a shotgun shell in the chamber so it can be fired. The fact that she did tells me she had already thought in her mind what it was going to be like to shoot that shotgun. All that leads me to believe premeditation.
But to rebut the prosecution's theory of premeditated murder, the defense will call their star witness.
The defense calls the defendant, Mary Carol Winkler.
The only person alive who knows exactly what happened the day Matthew was killed.
Somebody said to tell the truth, the whole truth, so help you God.
Yes, I do.
The most important witness in this trial, the one that everyone anticipated, takes the stand. And she testifies to some pretty shocking stuff.
The jury has just heard audio of Mary Winkler's interrogation, where she seems to imply that she suddenly snapped because of her husband Matthew's treatment of her.
I have nerve now, and I have self-esteem, and so my ugly came out.
Prosecutors tell the jury that Mary's real motive for the killing had nothing to do with Matthew's treatment of her. Instead, they say that the motive was about that alleged financial fraud they claim she was knee-deep in.
This was a premeditated act because Mary Winkler was in control.
Although investigators believe that the money was the motive in this case, they never charged Mary with any financial crimes.
She was the one that handled the finances. The finances were in shambles.
A bank investigator testifies that Mary had allegedly been scamming banks out of thousands of dollars by writing checks to herself and then floating money from one account to another.
These deposits were drawn off of the same bank, First State Bank, and were deposited within days of each other into the ATM at Regions.
So this check from Mary Winkler to Mary Winkler for $2,000 was deposited into Mary Winkler personal account on March 20th, 2006.
Correct.
March 22nd, 2006, Mary Winkler and her husband Matthew were supposed to go to the bank and explain where the money came from, where the money went, and how they were going to pay it back.
The house of cards which she had set up was falling down. March 22nd was the day it ended up that he was shot.
The prosecution claimed that Mary killed her husband Matthew because of the deep financial hole that she had dug for herself. But when it was the defense's turn, they painted a very different picture of Mary, claiming she was the victim in this case and Matthew was the villain.
Mary Winkler appeared to have had a marriage made in heaven, but behind closed doors, it was a living hell. The proof will show that Mary was his whipping boy.
Part of the defense strategy was to put Matthew on trial. They put on the stand a church secretary who claimed she overheard some really harsh words coming from Matthew to Mary.
The tone, the sounds were of anger, berating.
What did you say to Matthew?
Those are things that a husband shouldn't say to a wife. You are to be a leader by example and not by force.
Another witness to take the stand was Mary's own sister, Tabitha. And she said Mary complained that Matthew tried to keep her away from her family and control her every move.
How would he act to her?
He pretty much dictated anything that she did. She wasn't allowed to make any decisions for herself. She would have to say, I have to check with Matt, and it was usually no.
There was testimony from the defense about how Matthew could act aggressively, but there was not a lot of information. And the jury may have thought, well, if he was this awful man, wouldn't more people have seen more?
Defense ready to call us next witness.
We are, Your Honor.
But the defense then called Mary herself, and she testified in explicit detail.
The defense calls the defendant, Mary Carol Winkler,
about exactly what she said happened behind closed doors.
Miss Winkler, if you'll come forward, please, ma'am.
As she took the stand, all eyes in the courtroom were riveted on Mary.
Mary Winkler was up there, appearing meeker than you would think anyone could. For much of the testimony, it appeared to be her head was down in shame.
Now remember, the state argued that Mary intentionally killed her husband to cover up a messy web of alleged fraudulent check kiting. But on the stand, Mary had a simple answer. Matthew made her do it.
Who directed those deposits?
Matthew told me where to put them, and I put them in the bank.
Mary also testified that Matthew knew that the banks were demanding answers over the financial issues with their accounts.
He was upset, and I just tried to continue encouraging him if he would please go in and do that.
Did he say he would?
He said he would, but he had been saying that for weeks.
Mary explained to the jury that she didn't stand up for herself because she was so afraid of Matthew's volatility, his temper.
How did he act when he yelled and screamed at you?
He flailed. He just was all over. He would just be furious. He went from certain threats to more serious threats.
Can you be specific to the jury about any threats?
He told me one time that he was going to cut the brake lines out of the van. He threatened me with the shotgun many times, putting it in my face. He told me if I ever talked back to him, that he would cut me into a million pieces.
Dan and Diane Winkler sat through a trial where they heard some awful things about their son, and it had to be very difficult for them. And their faces were stoic, but you could also see how it was affecting them too.
When I asked her about abuse, I said, well, you know, did he physically abuse you? And she said, oh no. I believe her to this day that he never abused her.
There was no indication from any of the people interviewed that Mary had ever disclosed it to them as a friend, or it never came out about any physical abuse. She described Matthew as being a fine man, and there was never a hint of any abuse.
But it turns out that Mary's testimony about alleged abuse on the part of Matthew was just the tip of the iceberg. This case is moving in another direction.
The one question that nobody will forget is when Steve Faris handed her a bag.
What's in that sack, Mary? Put it up on the...
When she was testifying to all of this, oh my God, wow. This is amazing testimony. This is shocking testimony. Almost couldn't believe it.
On trial for the murder of her preacher husband, Matthew. Mary Winkler tells jurors that she was living in a marriage from hell.
I had asked Matthew to have a divorce, and he absolutely denied it. That would not be allowed.
That was not an option?
No, sir.
According to who?
Matthew.
Preachers can't get a divorce. People want to know, okay, how do you preach the things you preach and you're divorced?
Mary's defense team would also expose what they said was another dark side of the Winklers' marriage. One that would take this trial into a surprisingly different arena.
What's in that sack, Mary?
Shoe and a wig.
Show me the shoe that's in there. Put it up on the side there. Is that the kind of shoe that you would wear to church?
No, sir.
Where'd you get that wig, Mary?
From Matthew.
Well, why was that shoe bought, Mary?
Matthew wanted me to wear it to dress up.
Dress up for what purpose, Mary?
Sex.
When they brought out the shoe and the wig and put those on the witness stand, there was a gasp in the courtroom. It was just a moment in this case, I think, that everything turned. And then hearing the preacher's wife accuse her dead husband of all of these things that were not allowed in the Churches of Christ congregations. These were sins.
Mary testified that Matthew had porn up on a computer and wanted her to watch it.
What would occur after he'd ask you to look at the photographs?
Go have sex.
Did he ever ask you to engage in any type of sex that you felt was unnatural?
Yes, sir. He just wanted to have sex with my bottom.
Did it hurt you?
Yes, sir.
The people in the courtroom, when she was testifying to all of this, you could kind of see on their faces like, oh my God, wow, this is shocking testimony.
For the life of me, I have never understood how wearing platform shoes and a wig for your husband gives you the right to shoot him in the back with a shotgun.
While the details of the Winklers' sex life caused a huge buzz inside the courtroom, the questions at hand were why and how Matthew was shot to death. And for the very first time, people heard Mary talk about what she says happened that morning.
describing how it all started with the cries of their baby daughter.
Matthew kicked me out of the bed. He just caught me somewhere in the low of my back and I was on the floor.
What happened next?
He walked out of the room and then I got up and went after him.
Mary said she then saw Matthew covering the baby's nose and mouth to keep her from crying, something that she said he had done before.
What was he doing?
Suffocating her. I said, could I please have her? He just threw his arms up and walked out and walked away from the crib.
Mary says she was so disturbed by this incident that she followed Matthew back to the bedroom and she wanted to confront him about it.
I just wanted to talk to Matthew.
What did you want to talk to him about?
I just wanted to stop being so mean.
Mary testified she was afraid to talk to her husband and then found herself holding Matthew's shotgun.
Do you remember ever having a gun, holding a gun?
Yes, sir.
Do you remember ever pointing a gun?
No, sir.
Did you pull the trigger?
No, sir.
Did you intentionally, purposefully kill your husband?
No, sir.
Did you love your husband?
Yes, sir.
You still love him?
Yes, sir.
Mary had been very vague and foggy about a gun going off, which is a classic defense statement. They use the passive voice. They don't say, I shot a gun. They say, a gun went off.
So what was it that led you into the position of accidentally shooting Matthew Winkler?
I just wanted to talk to him.
It wasn't an accident, was it?
Yes, sir.
You just wanted to talk to him and he wouldn't listen. So you shot him in the middle of the back while he was asleep. Now, has that memory come back to you, Ms. Winkler?
No, sir.
You recall telling Agent Carpenter you remember hearing a loud boom and remember thinking it wasn't as loud as I thought it would be.
I don't recall telling him that.
Do you remember today if you told Matthew that you were sorry and that you loved him?
Yes.
The defense called a licensed psychologist to the stand who had met with Mary several times, and she testified that the reason Mary might not be able to remember the details of the shooting was because she had been traumatized by Matthew's treatment of her.
It's my professional opinion that Mary does suffer from a post-traumatic stress disorder, and at the time that this occurred, she was in a dissociated episode where she was not able to think or plan the way she normally would be able to do.
After 10 days of evidence and testimony, it's time for closing arguments.
Unfortunately, Matthew Winkler couldn't practice what he was preaching. His problem was that of a bully. And what bullies do is they pick on people that are smaller than them. And I say to you that if you looked up spousal abuse in the dictionary, you're going to see Mary Winkler's picture looking back at you.
He was brutally, premeditatedly, and intentionally killed, shot in the middle of his back as he slept. He did not deserve to die. Justice demands one verdict, and that is guilty of murder in the first degree.
Now the jury has a big decision. Couldn't Mary have gotten out of a bad marriage some other way? Or is she just a cold-blooded killer? This very debate is going to spark some fireworks in that jury room.
So it got heated in the jury room?
Very much so. Oh, I was ready to come across that table and strangle her.
This morning, the jury is in deliberations, and Mary Winkler's fate hangs in the balance.
Emotions ran high as jurors seemed hopelessly divided on whether Matthew Winkler's death was murder or a fatal accident.
There was some that didn't feel like she should get anything. They were ready to let her walk. They felt like he deserved what he got. And then you had some that was like, yes, she was abused, but she did take a life, and that she should get something out of it.
We were very stressed during that time because we didn't know how to work it out.
So it got heated in the
It
jury
did.
room.
Very much so.
I hear that you got frustrated because one of the jurors wouldn't even admit that she pulled the trigger.
Yes.
Refused to believe it.
And I looked at her and I was like, what? I was ready to come across that table and strangle her because I thought that was completely ridiculous.
The jury also had doubts about the prosecution's claim that Mary killed Matthew to avoid embarrassment over their alleged financial troubles.
People did not care about the money aspect of it. That was not what was on our minds.
Even though she was called by the bank to go see them the next day, the day he was shot?
No, at the very forefront was the abuse. It never wavered from the forefront of our thoughts.
The jurors could convict Mary of first-degree murder, second-degree murder, voluntary or involuntary manslaughter, and it's anyone's guess where they were going to go.
And now you are looking at a live picture inside the courtroom. There you see Matthew Winkler's family, and they're all waiting for the jury.
After 8 hours of deliberation, the jury had finally reached a verdict.
And members of the jury are expected to read that verdict coming up momentarily.
Ms. Winkler, if you could please stand, ma'am.
And in true Mary Winkler fashion, she remained stoic as the verdict was read.
We, the jury, find the defendant, Mary C. Winkler, guilty of voluntary manslaughter.
There was a little bit of a gasp in the audience. I don't know that many people expected her to be convicted of anything less than first-degree murder.
With voluntary manslaughter, there is an intent to kill, but you were provoked by something.
There you see Mary Winkler's father, and he looks a little bit surprised there.
To the shock of Mary's supporters and the dismay of Matthews, Mary will face just 3 to 6 years behind bars.
Would this jury have allowed Mary to walk free?
Part of them would have.
No comment.
They felt like she had already lived through prison with the life that she lived, and that it was justified and that she deserved to be free.
That's why you compromised and agreed to the lesser charge?
Yes, because I didn't want her to walk.
In Tennessee, 33-year-old Mary Winkler is awaiting sentencing after being found guilty of killing her preacher husband.
Mary, how you feeling? On June 8, 2007, everyone gathered in the courtroom for Mary's sentencing as she pled for mercy.
I think of Matthew every day in the guild, and I'll always miss him and love him. There were bad times, but there were good times, and I wish I could have that good Matthew and that we could live together forever.
If I were Matthew's parents, that statement would have felt like a kick in the teeth. It was so disregarding of their feelings on facing this reality.
Matthew was a wonderful person. He loved life. He loved his family. He loved the Lord God with all of his heart and soul and mind. The monster that you have painted for the world to see, I don't think that monster existed. There's been no remorse from you. You've never told your girls you're sorry. Don't you think you at least owe them that? You've never told us you're sorry. I think you at least owe us that.
I can understand why a mother would more than ask that. And I would think a mother, as in Mary, would also want to apologize. The damage is done.
When the judge handed down the sentence, you could have heard a pin drop in that room.
The defendant is hereby sentenced to a term of 3 years or sentences to be served in split confinement with 210 days of incarceration with appropriate credit to be given.
With time served, Mary Winkler spent only 1 more week in jail in this very cell, and then 60 days in a mental health facility. To her supporters, it was a clear victory, but to others, It was nothing more than a slap on the wrist.
People were very shocked by that sentence and really couldn't believe it.
Matthew's parents had to feel betrayed by the system. They had to feel as if the jury had been played.
When you found out that she was going to get such a short sentence, what went through your mind?
I was heartbroken. Actually, I felt like I had failed. I felt like I had failed, like I didn't do my part, that I had let her off.
I believe she should have served more time, but we did what we did because that was all we could do.
After the trial, the town of Selma remained divided over whether Mary really got justice. Meanwhile, for Mary, the saga isn't over.
After the sentencing, the public thought, okay, that's it. They've heard everything, but it was not.
She wasn't finished talking. She wanted to tell her story to everyone.
Hey.
Hi, Oprah.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Tell me why you wanted to have this conversation today.
After serving an additional 7 days in jail, Mary Winkler finished out the remainder of her sentence at an undisclosed mental health facility. And while there, she had a visitor on the weekends. Turns out, while she had been working at the dry cleaners, she struck up a relationship with her boss's brother. His name? Darryl Pillow.
I saw interest in Mary, and I thought Mary saw interest in me.
Darryl Pillow says sparks flew. It was instant attraction when he first met Mary at his brother's dry cleaners.
I was attracted to Mary. I mean, we do have a lot in common. You know, we laugh. We got the same hobbies. It felt very normal. It felt like it was meant to be, you know, that we was meant to be together. I know the first time that we sat on the couch and I hugged her and she said, oh, this is, you know, I miss this, you know, and that's what she needed. She needed somebody to hold her and hug her.
I remember hearing that she may have had a new acquaintance.
She was just a very sweet girl. I mean, it felt normal to be with Mary. No, I never felt scared or threatened. Our relationship was we had an adult relationship.
Even though Mary was in a mental health facility, Darryl says he would come to visit her on weekends. The two were able to get closer, and he says they even got to the point where they discussed marriage.
We kind of joked around about it, you know, but it wasn't nothing serious. It's not like we set a date or you know, maybe years down the road it may happen. I don't know. But you know, the option's there.
But soon after Mary was released from the facility, Darryl says she ended things with him.
She just said, Darryl, I've got to be single right now. And I said, that's fine. She needs to be focused on her children, and that's where she's at right now. She is focused on her children.
Since her arrest, even though she had visitation rights, Mary's 3 daughters had been living with Matthew's parents, Diane and Dan Winkler.
But once back in McMinnville and now living with friends, Mary is on a mission to get those 3 girls back.
Mary's got a long way to go, but she's on her road. She's on the way. She's gonna make it. Since she's gotten back home, the Mary that we came to know and love, the grinning, the cutting up, you know, she's back.
Mary was determined to fight, and one way she could do that was by being the perfect parolee.
How do you think her time in jail impacted her life?
Well, she had time to think about what happened, I'm sure, and reflect on what she had done, and I'm sure she wanted to get out so she'd get back with her children as soon as possible. Her children are very important to her.
She lives and breathes every day for those girls. What she wants to do is get on with her life, let people leave her alone, get her girls back, and mourn her husband. That's her words.
Now back home, the once shy and demure former preacher's wife, who wanted a quiet life, raised eyebrows again after making one of her first stops, the Oprah Winfrey Show, telling Oprah she hoped by speaking out, her story might help others.
An Oprah exclusive.
For the first time, Mary Winkler, the wife
who killed her pastor husband.
Mary Winkler appeared on Oprah just as she appeared on the stand. Very soft-spoken, very meek and mild. And but I remember Oprah wasn't buying any of it. You know, Oprah didn't let her off the hook.
Was a shotgun in the baby's room?
No, we kept it in the closet. It's just, I can't, there's a lot of things that don't make sense to me.
Yeah. Well, imagine, it doesn't make sense to me either.
I know.
She kept prying and asking her and just telling her, okay, help me make sense of this.
The gun is aimed at him at some point. Do you remember that?
Well, no, because when I heard the boom, I just took out of there and took off running.
And then Mary explained to Oprah the importance of getting those girls back.
I'm their mother.
You killed their father.
I did not want any of this to happen.
Even though the girls had been living at Matthew's parents' home, the Winklers wanted to formalize it. They filed a lawsuit to adopt their granddaughters and terminate Mary's parental rights.
Mary Winkler looked happy and confident when she walked into the courthouse in Huntington for another showdown with her former in-laws over custody of her 3 daughters.
But there's still one more turn to come in Mary's roller coaster ride of a life.
Her life seems to be normal, except for one thing.
One more startling secret to reveal.
Something else had happened to Mary Winkler that was surprising, shocking.
Since her arrest, Mary Winkler has been locked in a custody battle with Matthew's parents. And finally, after months without her children, they reach an informal agreement out of court, giving Mary permission to take her 3 daughters back.
My girls are my girls, and I'm their mother, and we were just put back together, and we picked up where we were separated.
I know.
Come here, Emma.
After finally getting her children back, Mary Winkler sits down for one more exclusive interview with Janice Broach to reveal yet another setback in her life.
Tonight, Mary Winkler is back, and she has a secret.
I had found out that Mary had been diagnosed with MS, multiple sclerosis.
My right hand and my right foot were completely disabled, could not use. And so I was very fortunate that I have been able to come back to full capacity.
17 years after she shot her husband, Mary Winkler lives a quiet life. But to this day, there are still lingering questions in Selmer about whether justice was served in her case.
I believe that she actually got away with murder of her husband. Justice was not served, in my opinion.
Was Mary Winkler a victim or a villain?
Both.
Did Mary get away with murder?
Yes, she did.
She's going to have to answer for what she did. It's not up to me to forgive her. What she did is between her and Matthew and his family and God.
As for Matthew's parents, this tragedy that befell their son is still painfully close to their hearts.
His father, Dan, can be seen giving a sermon in this Palm Beach Lakes Church of Christ video, posted on YouTube just last month.
18 years ago, trauma knocked on the front door of our house, and we lost a son. I live with that emptiness all of the time, and it's been almost 2 decades. But I remember the sound of his voice. And every time we sit down at a Christmas table as a family, there's an empty place.
A
a father still grieving. Our own John Quinones reached out to Mary Winkler at her home, but she told him she didn't want to talk about what happened all those years ago.
That's right, David. She said she's moved on and she's busy taking care of her 3 daughters. Those daughters are now 18, 24, and 26. That's our program for tonight. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Deborah Roberts.
And I'm David Muir. From all of us here at 2020 and ABC News, good night.